Welcome to another episode of the Miami Comedy Podcast. It's Manny Garavito, your host, and today we're going to be talking about what are some of the ways that the Art Basel of Miami uses FOMO marketing to make you feel like you need to go to every single overpriced event. As a Miami insider, I'm going to show you some tactics that the event producers of Art Basel do in order to make you feel like you're going to miss out. So a lot of producers say that these events are exclusive, but everyone in Miami seems to have the same invite from a friend of a friend. The same guy that's sending out those emails also have another friend that have different email lists saying the same thing. Or it's like their way of saying, figure out how to sneak in. I don't understand why every Art Basel events claim to be invite only, but then when you go, you still gotta wait in line. It's obvious that the fear of missing out on this kind of exclusivity is only to realize that it's just to drink as much Prosecco before it runs out, or to listen to a DJ spin before they switch to another DJ. What I'm trying to get at is the exclusivity of these events is more based on if you can get in or not, regardless of who you know, or if you're really good at sneaking in, or if you want to get some of the free drinks that are available, or if you just want to catch a DJ playing. That's about it, because people want you there. And I think what they mean by exclusive is that apparently they're just going to run out of chairs and then you're going to be standing the whole night. So the second way that Art Basel tries to give you a sense of FOMO is when they start saying that the events have a dress code. Listen, if you want to stand out at Art Basel, you're not going to follow any dress code. It looks like the unofficial Hunger Games is happening in Miami Beach during this time of the year. People will wear the weirdest combination of clothes and then call that fashion. You're going to see a guy like in a neon leotard and a cape, and he's going to be insistent that is just an expression of his inner peace, especially if they want to claim the artist title at an Art Basel event. There's no way that you're going to go wearing a cocktail dress or a tuxedo. There's no way. If you want to stand out in Art Basel, you got to make sure that you look like you just went through the clearance bin at Party City, especially if you're an influencer. Oh, they're going to be out there and they got to let you know that there's somebody one way or another. And that definitely includes breaking the dress code. There's a lot of people out there that don't want to be outshined by the art. So they're going to be dressing in ways to make them the center of attention. And believe me, Art Basel is probably one of the best events to try your hardest to show your narcissistic side and get away with it. So another way that I noticed that Art Basel tries to use the FOMO marketing tactic is to just do everything and anything digital art related. Kind of like the NFT space, but it's no longer appropriate to call something NFT because the idea tanked. So it's now digital art, blockchain art. It's just really not art anymore. It's more like JPEGs on steroid. You bought a pixelated cat for $200,000 and you try to convince people it was an investment, but then everyone caught on and now you realize that you have to make that investment somewhat rational. So now it's digital art and you love cats. You put two and two together and you do a gallery, people will come out. So when you throw around things like blockchain, digital art, crypto, anything within that realm of conversations gives events a sense of, are you in or out? And there have been many people that I've met at events like this that have no idea how any of this stuff works, but they are there because they know it's the hot new trend. And in Miami, that's the most important thing. I mean, if trends were in the blockchain, Art Basel knows how to exploit it. What also makes Art Basel an amazing tool for FOMO is seeing all your friends posting all those Instagram stories. And believe me, you too can take advantage of the FOMO marketing tactic by going to these events and shoving it in the faces of everybody just how exclusive you are by being able to attend these. And they will flood your stories with blurry, zoomed up drinks and art pieces and I don't know, DJs at a nightclub, a bounce. Anything that you can capture during the Art Basel gives you just a little bit of exclusivity and makes everybody that is on a burner account looking at your stories feel that envy. So don't stop yourself short from actually using the FOMO marketing tactic to make yourself look good. And it's a great way for them to show their artistic side by posting these Instagram stories. Oh, this piece speaks to me. And it's a photo of a cat with money eyes and glitter all around. Now, if you do end up going to some sort of live performance or DJ event, you're really just going to be focused more on the back of somebody's head and then a blurry image all the way in the distance of someone spinning music with very large, expensive lighting. And then people are going to be there experiencing it and amazed at this performance, but you're just going to be looking at your phone like, why did you post this at 4 a.m. thinking I was going to be there with you? And here's a tip. If you stay up late during the dates of Art Basel and you try to catch the stories from like around from 3 to 5 a.m., you're going to see the real Art Basel. Drinks spilling all over the floor, drunk, blurry photos of somebody passed out, maybe even a sex tape. You don't know. I mean, anything goes when you're out and about. There's a vibe going on. The vice of people and their willingness to document it in the stories are going to be shown around that time. And then when they wake up the next morning is when they delete it. So if you want to see the real Art Basel, do not miss out on those stories in the middle of the night. Another way that FOMO occurs is when the pop-up events happen in the most random places and you're like, I didn't know there was something going on there. They didn't even announce it. It just ends up there. No, I wouldn't be surprised if something like a gas station in Biscayne turns into a pop-up gallery featuring like sculptures made out of like used tires or something like that. That stuff actually happens during Art Basel. And you really got to be in the know to figure out where all these places are. But like I said, you just got to be in the right place at the right time to capture those. I've seen things like a Wynwood parking lot turn into a must-see pop-up, and then you just go there and it's just graffiti. But all you got to do is just claim it as an event, and people will show up. Or you can go to a pop-up bartending event, say that it's an Art Basel event, but the only feature that you're going to see there are overpriced drinks next to an inflatable flamingo, and that's all you need to make it an Art Basel pop-up event. I don't know if you guys seen this, but there was a banana on the wall a couple of years ago that sold for millions. I think they bought it recently and somebody ate it after purchasing that multi-million-dollar banana. Here in Miami, we're the kinds of culture that we would wait in line to see that and take a photo of it. It's just part of what we do in Art Basel, and these pop-up events where the most random things happen is where the true art of superficiality occurs in our city. So earlier we mentioned that digital art and the language of crypto gives events during Art Basel some sort of exclusivity. Also, just any regular art speak. I don't really think that people care about art a lot in our city. And not saying that's a bad thing or a good thing. It's just, we just want it in the background while we're doing Miami things, I mean, we would give our bartenders credit as an artist just on how great the cocktails are or on how good they are at getting away with charging us $30 for it. But, if you have a canvas and it has like a sticker on it or like a single blue square and it just says, the art title and unfinished, there will be a journalist that will say that this is an introspective minimalist piece. And people will be like, yeah, duh. And the person who uses phrases like juxtaposition of textures and things like that to describe a pile of Nike shoes somewhere in an art gallery, that is official and not advertisement at all. That is just like, wow, look at that Shoeheads collection in a mess, but yet so beautiful at the same time. We will nod looking at these art pieces and actually try to emotionally connect to these kinds of things. But, as an outsider looking in, sometimes you can't help but think hey man, some of these pieces actually looks like my nephew's finger painting that he gave me on his first grade. But hey, you know what? I'm not the one to judge what is art and what isn't, but Miami really enjoys overcompensating what we title as art, and it gives us our charm. So add a little art speak into any event, and it'll give it that nice little artistic touch of you're missing out on a great piece of art. Another way to give out FOMO during Art Basel is actually seeing celebrity sightings. Oh, those are my favorite. I think I just saw Kanye. Spoiler, it wasn't really Kanye. It was just somebody that you were recording in very low quality, and you were probably inebriated thinking that what you're seeing through your screen is who you think it was. But if you were to go like this, you'd realize, oh, I'm just recording a guy getting into a car. But at the same time, there are celebrity sightings, but they're not really as common. If it does happen, it's not by accident. They're on a red carpet or getting out of a limo or something. But celebrity sightings are a thing in Miami, but sometimes they're not really shot well. And I don't know, it's underwhelming to be like, oh my God, I think I took a shot of Leonardo DiCaprio's elbow as he was getting into his limo, and then there's no way of knowing if that's really his elbow. But you say it is, and so we just take it on face value, and then next year we got to go to that event because of that elbow. There's a lot of factors involved on celebrity sightings. How good is the quality? Where was the event? And were you really drunk when you think you saw that particular celebrity? Here in Miami, we have an obsession with being able to see very famous people in any event that you're invited to, because then that adds to your ability to come off as VIPs. Like, I'm at the same party that this particular celebrity is in. And that does work because it makes you seem as if you've got some status to be there. Everyone is famous one way or another in Miami, including bartenders. It's subjective. So earlier I mentioned that there was a banana duct tape on the wall in Miami Gallery a few years ago, and it was sold recently, I think $7 million or something like that. And there's always that awkward moment that you look at that and you realize the price tag on it, and you're like, I could have made that, but how did this person sell it for that price? That always bugs me. I wish that I had the ability to just be that kind of an artist, a con artist. Imagine trying to explain to your broke friends that you were at an event where you saw something like that and then the price tag was in the millions. How do you even get started trying to get into that space? I mean, can I do something like draw a stick figure and then just try to convince my family and friends to pull some money to buy it off of me? How does one get to that level? But I think in order for an event to feel like there's FOMO is you gotta make something that stands out, even if it's ironic and absurd. I mean, I personally love the fact that a banana duct taped to a wall is that popular. The humor behind it, and of the financial sadness as well. It's just a great juxtaposition of art. I think the phrase, it's all about the concept. The concept is the main word here, and that artist is laughing all the way to the bank, and more power to him or her. Great job. That's hilarious. So another way that I've noticed that some of these events during Art Basel gives that feeling of FOMO is that there's a lot of VIP sections, and there's tiered ticketing. If you pay $350, you get general admission. Well, if you sneak in, you get general. So sneaking in is the real general admission, and then paying is the official admission, and then there's multiple VIP sections that you can buy in tiers. There's the $500, the $1,000, the $5,000, and then what you're really buying is just the title. They'll sell it like a general admission, VIP, a crypto whale entry. They use wording like that to just split up VIP sections in the same venue. You have one VIP here, you have another VIP here, another one over there, and another one over here. And then you realize, oh, this whole place is a VIP section. And I'm right next to the people that paid 10 times my price, but the only difference is that they're behind that velvet rope. So it's a ridiculous hierarchy of access. These VIP areas, but no drinks are included, then what's the point of paying this whole price tag? It's a status thing. So making people feel FOMO by going into these VIP areas is probably one of the best ways to con people out of their money, because it just makes them feel like they're extra special just by being 20 feet that way. I think most of the times these VIP sections are more overcrowded than the actual general area. Maybe they got better lighting and visibility. Like, oh, VIP section's over there. Anyway, where's the restroom? It doesn't really make any sense, these ultra tiered VIP. What do you get, like a t-shirt or a lanyard or something like that? I never really seen that much of a difference. If you have the ability to sneak into these events, I think you have the ability to sneak into a VIP area. So keep that in mind. Oh yeah, after parties. Now that is probably the biggest FOMO event during Art Basel. And if you don't know somebody that will take you back to their penthouse to party, I'm talking about really party, then that's really what you're missing out on. You can sneak in just about anywhere, but not somebody's home. And what's great about after parties is that you always find yourself there in a surprising way. Like you just wake up and you're like, oh my God, I'm in somebody's pool looking at the skyline. I was just at a rave what felt like 10 minutes ago. How did the DJ from the warehouse party I was in end up here spinning at your place? Wow, that is very artistic the way that segue just happened. Another way to give off FOMO during Art Basel is you gotta buy the merch, especially if it's got a year on it. Oh, or if they skip a year. So let's say if you go to Art Basel in 2024 and the merch you buy says 2025, you are FOMO from the future. Make sure you keep an eye out for that kind of merch, whether it be a tote bag, a t-shirt, a hat. If it says Art Basel 2025, that is gonna make you shine for a whole year. Even during the next Art Basel. It's almost like, how did you get that before the Art Basel even started? Go ahead and pay $400 for that tote bag. Just because there's a squiggly line on it doesn't mean it's not worth those $400. You're telling people just how futuristic you are. Sometimes even buying the merch makes you feel like you're buying the art exhibit itself. Yes, I will buy that shirt for $120. Now I walk around feeling like I'm an exhibition myself. Buying expensive merch is also a flex. If you're with a large group of people and see that somewhere in the exhibition there's a $10 million art piece, you know you can't afford it, but you don't want to say you can't afford it, so instead what you do is you buy a $50 keychain at a kiosk nearby, and you know what? It gives that you could have if you really wanted to. So if you suddenly want to come off like a walking billboard, don't skip out on the merchandise during Art Basel, no matter how obscure it is. All right. And lastly, the best way to combat FOMO during this time of year in the city of Miami during Art Basel is just learn how to sneak in. I know I've used this example many times in the previous ones, but this really is the best skill that you can learn during this time of the year. Whether it's being charming to the bouncer, whether it's being able to wear clothing that makes you blend in, whether it's knowing somebody and as they walk in, you just do a little dark art and you just ninja your way in there while they're walking in. There's many ways to dodge security. There's many ways to rob a press badge or to even fake one, or acting like you were paying the cover, but it was really just a debit card that you found on the floor and it got approved somehow. There's many ways to do this. I mean, you can even scale a wall if you're fit enough. And you know that on the other side, you just got to go through some bushes, and next thing you know, the pool is right there. You grab a glass of champagne, and now you're blending in. And no one will question that. And the excuses that people make to sneak in is also artistic on its own. There's just so many ways. And you just got to be creative enough to figure out what those ways are. There's something very satisfying about sneaking in, knowing that people paid very high-end prices to get in there. And all you really had to do was just walk in. It makes you feel like you're the real VIP and MVP during Art Basel. And if you're really good at sneaking into events, keep a mental scorecard and find a way to put it somewhere after the event. Say I snuck in here. And you know what? That should be an art exhibition. There should be an art gallery where people show you how they snuck in and how many events they snuck in, and then it'll be a scoreboard during the next Art Basel. I think that would be something that I would love to see, and that can also add to the culture of the kind of events we do here in Miami. That is it for this episode of the Miami Comedy Podcast. If you enjoyed this, please subscribe and look us up on social media. Also, leave me a comment. What do you think are some of the ways that Art Basel gives you that sense of FOMO? Thank you very much for watching this video, and I look forward to seeing you on the next.